to the Dream Journal. From the studios of KSQD in Santa Cruz, the Dream Journal is a weekly show where we explore the power of nighttime dreams through conversations with dream experts and with listeners like you.
So there's minutes, time is keenly found. We are not alone, water over stone, even if you're by yourself.
A dream can be meaningful even if you don't know what it means. The name of today's music is Safarius. Created fresh for you by Rick Kleffel. Thank you. Quantum entanglement, time-traveling information. What is behind the phenomenon of precognitive dreaming? Meet astrophysicist and Oneironaut Paul Callis, who argues that precognition is naturally selected for because of its unmistakable evolutionary advantage. And I am your host, Catherine Bell of Experiential Dreamwork. Welcome to the Dream Journal. All right, we have a special treat today. We have an in-studio guest. Paul Callis took the trip down from Berkeley to Santa Cruz and is joining me in the studio. Hi, Paul. Say hello.
Hi, Catherine. It's great to be here. It's wonderful to be in Santa Cruz again.
Excellent. I met Paul at the Roald Duck conference in the Netherlands a couple of years ago and was just really taken by his precognition dreams and also the fact that he's an astrophysicist. So let me introduce Paul. Dr. Paul Callis is an accomplished astronomer at UC Berkeley who searches for undiscovered planets among the billions of stars in our galaxy. In his book, The Oneironauts, he documents more than 300 precognitive dreams, explores alternate explanations, describes connections to neuroscience, physics, and evolution, discusses the significance for the individual, and foretells the future impact on humanity. The Oneironauts is called Using Dreams to Engineer Our Future, and you can find out about that and all about Paul at oneironauts.org. And Oneironauts is spelled Oneironauts. So astronauts, but Oneironauts. So we're astronauts in our dreams. So that was so wonderful to meet you then, and it's been a year and a half, almost 2 years now since we met in the Netherlands. But I was really struck by that fact. We're both astronomers, and I love that. We have that in common. You're actively practicing. I haven't practiced in a long time. But maybe you would like to tell us a little bit about your experience with precognition and some of your early things that you discovered pertaining to your profession.
Yeah, thanks. In fact, this program is rather unique. How many programs are there to astronomers talking about dreams?
Right.
So,
nighttime phenomenon.
Both nighttime phenomena,
Yeah.
night owls, I guess. We both value what happens in the evenings. Oneironauts, just to explain it a bit, onira means dreams in Greek. And that's the plural, onira. And a naut is a naftis is a traveler. Mm-hmm. So the idea behind the title of the book is that we are time travelers through our dreams. And so many people have had dreams which come true in the future, or they think they've come true in the future. And that's what we mean by a precognitive dream. And for most people, if you haven't had such a dream, it's hard to even believe that such a thing could happen, that you could dream about the future. But in my case, when I was young, I had that first precognitive dream. It was very unmistakable that it was precognitive. In other words, I had a peculiar dream. It happened a few months later. And that was the first time it happened to me, and then it's happened many, many times since then. And in my book, I actually catalog over 300 experiences where something that I've dreamt about comes true in the future.
Well, I mean, we often hope that most of our dreams are not precognitive.
That's right. That's right.
So you said that they're unmistakable. What does that mean? What are the signs of a precognitive dream?
Well, for an unmistakable precognitive dream, it has to be usually something that can't be explained otherwise. Of course, dreams have many functions. We worry about the future,
Right.
so we're always thinking about the future. We're dreaming about future possibilities, typically about things, concerns that we have, trying to solve problems in the future through our dreaming. But an unmistakable precognitive dream is something where a future experience is so unique that it can't be ascribed to chance or worry or a self-fulfilling prophecy. For example, in that first dream that I talked about when I was a kid, the dream was I see a boy who has injured his knee, and I asked the boy, "How did you injure your knee?" And he says, "Jumping from a 16-wheeler to a hay cart."
Oh, wow.
So that is not a common phrase. I've Googled it. Nobody says that.
It's very specific.
Nobody. It's not on TV, as far as I know. It was not in any book that we may have commonly read, me and that other boy. So in a way, it was like a password, a phrase that is so unique, it's a password. So what are the chances that you could have a dream by chance where you're guessing somebody else's password that is that complicated? So that's what I mean by unmistakable.
But how was that was that meaningful to you as a kid? Like the 16-wheeler to a hay cart? That's what you're calling, that's the password? I mean, how is...
Well, that's another property of dreams, my precognitive dreams, is that they're often novel and puzzling, where you're focusing on what you saw or heard or thought, and it's a puzzling, often, experience, and novel. It's never happened to you before. And those are the kinds of dreams that are precognitive dreams.
Interesting. So I take it sometime later you did hurt your leg jumping from a 16-wheeler to a hay truck?
No, it was the boy had, that's what how the boy described how he got injured.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's that the language came out as precognitive. The phrase, it wasn't a visual dream. It was the language, actually. So precognitive dreams can be things that you've seen or read or even think or feel. Yeah.
But what was the precognition? I still don't really follow how that's a precognitive dream. What did it predict?
Well, in my dream, I heard the phrase jumping from a hay cart to a 16-wheeler. 3 months later, it would actually happen. Somebody else would speak those words.
Oh, somebody spoke those words
Yeah.
and you heard, and then you remembered the dream.
Yeah.
Okay.
In real time, I was stunned. I was like, and the dream recall was fairly clear because I had it right before I woke up. I had this dream, and I was puzzled. I remembered the dream, the type of dream where you wake up in the morning and it's like, these dreams are crazy. Why would I think of like jumping from a hay cart to a 16-wheeler? And yet 3 months later, completely out of the blue, a boy would say those words.
And so the dream was distinct enough, and maybe is that also a feature of precognitive dreams that you kind of remember them, that you remembered them months later. You remember that phrase.
Yes, exactly. So this is also related to something called déjà vu, where which means previously seen.
Right.
So many people have déjà vu, which is a feeling that you've been somewhere or you've been in this present circumstance. You have a feeling like it's happened before.
Right.
But that's kind of also associated with vague ideas. What's interesting about the dreams that I've cataloged is that they're more specific. You remember specifically that this déjà vu comes from a dream. It's not a vague feeling that you've been there before. It's recollecting from your memories these dreams that you've had. And in some cases that you've written down.
Okay. Right. So there is well, I have a couple of different questions coming up here. I guess the thing is, so what is the use of hearing that phrase twice? Like, or like, what is the point of precognitive dreams? It'd be great if it would, prevent me from like falling and hurt myself or something. Like the dream would give me a warning, and then I could not do the thing it was warning me about. But it seemed like it was just a phrase, and then you heard the phrase again later. So what is the use of that?
That's a good question, and I thought about that, and
Yeah.
I wrote about that in my book, and I have a couple ideas. One of them is that precognition helps you in learning, that actually there's some biological process in your mind that when you're learning, this time travel occurs. And so what's the purpose? The purpose is to help you understand a novel situation. So you're, in a sense, primed.
Mm-hmm.
You have the priming is something that psychologists talk about, where you prime an individual to experience something more efficiently and faster.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a precognitive dream about something that's puzzling, that means when it actually happens, you have a head start on the event.
Mm-hmm.
That learning process has already begun from the dreaming event. So that's one possible reason we have precognitive dreams, to help us deal with our environment and process the information.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get to a kind of a concrete example based on your work as an astronomer, that you actually had a precognitive dream about something that you later discovered. Do you want to say a bit about that?
Oh, yeah,
Seriously?
absolutely.
Okay.
This was probably the main reason I ever thought about like actually coming out publicly about my dreams, because I had evidence that I had recorded in a dream diary, and then an astronomical discovery that matched the dream diary. So this is a planetary system around a nearby star called Fomalhaut.
Mm-hmm.
It has some peculiar features that were new to science. When I discovered the Fomalhaut system in 2004, what we discovered about it was new to science, and yet I had drawn the discovery 9 years earlier, sketching out what I had seen in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book, I compared what I sketched to what would be discovered 9 years later. To me, that's also a very convincing evidence for precognition, because that astronomical discovery was not part of human knowledge when I had the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Those features of the Fomalhaut system were not known to science in 1995 when I had the dream.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They couldn't even be anticipated. There wasn't even a theory about such a phenomena in space.
Right. Okay. And what you're talking about are debris disks around these planets. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
These are rings of material around stars,
Mm-hmm.
dusty material, which you can call nebulosity if you want, and sort of like an asteroid belt around a star.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, for Fomalhaut, this asteroid belt was shifted in position away from the star. It had an offset. This phenomena I discovered in 2004 with my observations with the Hubble Space Telescope, but I had the dream about this 9 years before. This shift, this offset, was not part of the astronomical literature in 1995. There was a theory was proposed for it 3 years later, after my dream.
Uh-huh.
But at the time of the dream, there was no human knowledge about an observation of something in the universe that would look like this.
Okay, and yet you had this dream that 9 years later matched the observation that you made of this debris disk. So I take it you figured out, you found out why the shift had happened.
Yes.
Would you like just to tell me, to nerd out a little on astronomy?
Okay, yeah, of course, my pleasure, of course. So the idea is that if you have a planet in a planetary system that does not have a circular orbit, it has an elliptical orbit. We call it an eccentric orbit. that planet can actually influence all the dust particles around it and create an elliptical ring, an elliptical asteroid belt, if you wish.
Okay.
So if you remember ellipses are offset from the center. The more elliptical something is, the larger the offset. A circle, though, is centered on a center point. Ellipses are offset.
Right, and all orbits are a little bit elliptical, but you're talking about a very strong elliptical orbit. And so you basically, you discovered it was because of a planet that this asteroid belt was so off-center.
Yes, according to the theory that was developed after my dream.
Right.
The theory is what sort of informs us of the cause of this ellipticity. But even the theory was published by my colleague at Cambridge, Mark Wyatt, 3 years later after the dream. So I could not have known, and especially I'm not a theorist, I'm a type of astronomer who does observations with telescopes. I use the telescopes on Earth, the Hubble Space Telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope. So theory or thinking about theory wasn't something I was doing in 1995 when I had the dream.
And yet your dream came and it was notable, and you made the drawing,
Yeah.
and you remembered it. So 9 years later, when you made the discovery, you were able to go back to your notes and find the drawing.
Exactly.
That matched
Yeah.
the observations.
Yeah.
So that's a good argument for keeping a dream journal and, and referring to it occasionally to find out what was coming in the past. So you talk about this as time travel of information. And
Yeah.
maybe you could say a little, so information is actually traveling through time. And so we want to say a little bit about what this means. Like what does that mean? I mean, you specifically say that time travels from the present to the past. Like right now we're sending back information to our past selves. Is that what's...
Yeah, that's the idea is that usually you think of we're time traveling to the future.
Yeah.
And just thinking about how this could all work, in physics, there's the idea of the many worlds, that the universe splits off into many infinite versions based on all the possibilities.
So every time we make a decision, a new universe is created.
Yes.
Okay.
But if you had made the different decision, that universe also exists.
So they all exist.
They all exist.
Yeah.
So in the future, there are infinite number of possibilities of your life event. How is it that in the present time you could ever have a dream of the correct possibility? That seems a very impossible situation. But what if it's not that we're time traveling to the future, that in the present time we're sending information to our past self? Because if you go backwards, you can trace the timeline back to your unique self.
Wow. So can we send warnings to the past? Like, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's sort of the tagline for the book is engineering our future. What if future self or future humans could send important information back and, for example, advance medical knowledge faster
That'd be great.
than the normal rate. Saving lives, for example, or averting disaster. Or in some cases, when an obstacle comes your way, using that future information to affirm the thing you're actually wanting to happen. When I talk about a time in Heidelberg, Germany, when I was supposed to meet my colleagues in astronomy for dinner. And because I arrived late, I missed the meeting point. I did not know how to find them for dinner. But I had a dream that I recalled about a location where I would have dinner with them. And it was very sparse information. I talk about how these precognitive dreams don't give you a lot of information. I said, on average, roughly 9 seconds of information, for example. how much can you tell yourself in 9 seconds?
Not much.
Not much.
No.
So that's, in a way, that's how precognitive dreams aren't that useful, because the information isn't complete. But in this case, the information was that I would find them at a restaurant that is open to the sky and has a wood deck. And I knew Heidelberg well. I was a postdoc there for 2 years, and I never encountered a restaurant with open to the sky and with a wood deck. So I started wandering around Heidelberg looking for that restaurant. And at the riverfront, I see a boat, which is docked along the side, a big boat, and it has a sign in front of it. And I go to it, and I realize it's a restaurant I had never seen before, did not know about. I climb up the stairs to the top deck where the restaurant is, and there were my 12 colleagues eating dinner. And they were shocked. Brenda Matthews, the famous Canadian astrophysicist, goes, "How did you find us?" And I told them, well, I had a dream, and they all laughed because they didn't take it literally. But
But it was true.
That's an example of, we talk about, okay, precognitive dreams could be useful for averting disaster. This is an example of affirming an event that you are looking forward to. I wasn't supposed to be there because I got there late, but I wanted to have dinner, and it made me hit the pavement and walk around for 25 minutes until I found them at this location that was unique.
Right.
There was a deck and open to the sky. All other restaurants in Heidelberg are indoors, or if they're outdoors, what you see is they're on cobblestone streets.
Oh, yeah.
There's no wood deck restaurant except this single place.
Interesting. And so yourself, well, I guess your present self must have sent that information to your past selves, because the self that missed it wanted you to go.
That's right. That's right. Of course, I didn't have to search for them. So there's another universe where I missed the dinner. Yet I have this is an interesting aspect of what I talk about in the book. You have knowledge of two different universes in your mind. They coexist simultaneously. The universe that is part of your autobiographical past, your timeline, and another timeline, actually, where I did not have dinner with them. Or when you're trying to avert a disaster, let's say you avert something you don't like, you actually still have a memory of it because you dreamt about it, if you think about it. I talk about another experience where I try to avoid being laughed at in school. And because I had a precognitive dream, I didn't carry out the action that would cause some kids to make fun of me. It was very simple. There was a poster on the wall that was ripped, and when I went to put the poster back up on the wall, they would make fun of me that I ripped it when in fact it was already ripped. So it's a silly thing like this that happens in school. But when I saw the ripped poster and I saw these boys that were in my dream, I knew from the dream that they were going to make fun of me. And I did not touch the poster. And I was never made fun of.
So you escaped that embarrassment.
I escaped the embarrassment. And yet, that memory is still in my mind.
Because you dreamed about it.
Because I dreamt about an alternate timeline or a different universe. So this kind of puts in an interesting twist to this many worlds theory in physics, that the universe splits off into all the possibilities. Something that's missing or not said is, can you communicate between these alternate universes? No, except I'm saying yes.
Yes, through dreams, apparently.
Through dreams, you have knowledge of two different, a different autobiographical past. And in a way, you learn something from a universe that you did not live. Because from the dream, I have a knowledge of putting up the poster, being made fun of, maybe understanding that no good deed goes unpunished, But that is not from my actual autobiographical past, because I never put up the poster in my current timeline.
But it was in the dream.
It was in the dream.
So I can see that this would be like an incredibly valuable evolutionary tool, that if there were more precognition. But that brings me to the question, does everybody have precognitive dreams? Because I have very few. I can't say none, but it's certainly very rare for me. Are some people have more than others, or what's your sense about that?
Well, there have been studies, particularly for the phenomenon of déjà vu. When does déjà vu usually happen the first time? It's usually when you're younger, in your preteen and teen years. It's prevalent through your 20s and then drops off with age. In these studies, a third of people say that they've had déjà vu, but
not for. I mean,
but not for long.
But not for a long time, right?
Yeah, and I'm saying it's not just déjà vu. It's memories of dreams that give you this feeling that you've been there before. So it's precognitive dreams. So if you don't remember your dreams, then you, of course, won't have this experience. You can try to do better by keeping a dream journal, or at least spending time in the morning thinking about your dreams, because then you're focusing attention on your dreams, and by doing that, you're improving that skill, just like anything you practice to become better at. If you think about it a bit more, you might start having stronger memories of your nighttime dreams.
Right. Okay. And so that still leaves open the question of if some people are better at it than others. I mean, there's things you can do to get better, but is there like a tendency that some people just naturally have more precognition than others? Is it a trait? Like we were talking a little bit about evolution. Is this something that we're evolving toward, and some people have more of the trait than others?
Could be, just like some people are better at, for example, spatial navigation. Other people get lost immediately.
Right.
It could be, it could be that some people have that trait. But I do recommend a few things in my book to improve your ability, assuming that it's like everybody has the ability, but other people, some people exercise it better. And one idea is to actually go to novel environments more
really?
often, to explore and to pay attention to your environment, to not be in a rush, to quiet your mind and study the new things around you. One thing that people who have studied déjà vu, this is like published research, is often correlated to travel. People who travel often have more déjà vu experiences. I think even Freud had a déjà vu experience when he went to Athens, Greece, and he wrote about that. So when you travel, you're exiting your routine and having new experiences. And this seems to be one of the most common type of precognitive dream that I have, too.
That's interesting, because one of my strongest memories of déjà vu was I was probably mid-teens, so about that age you're talking about, and I was in a totally novel environment, and I was just looking around, but there were some familiar elements. It was my sister moving into her college dormitory, and so I recognized her things, like her quilt and some posters, but it was a totally new environment, and I got this like really intense, like it almost like.
There you go.
Yeah, I totally.
That's
very
exactly
intense
what I'm talking about. Entering a new space, and in fact, in my book, I talk about that space. The space is one of the most important things about these precognitive dreams, and in a way, an evolutionary advantage when you can recognize the right place to be. And so your experience in this new dorm room is very common. Many people who have had precognitive dreams are all about entering a new space or seeing a new thing for the first time. And you can exercise, like I said a few moments ago, this experience. Go to new places. So, for example, you could go, if in the real estate market, people show houses. And you can go see a house that you've never been to before and see the things, the items on the wall, and that might trigger déjà vu.
Interesting. So seeing things that you don't know triggers the feeling that you've seen them before. Interesting.
Because you might have had that as a precognitive dream.
So the idea that déjà vu is actually remembering a dream about that moment.
Yes.
Ah,
yes.
Interesting.
Instead of just a vague feeling. And there can be, one important thing, and I also talk about it in my book, is to exclude the alternate explanations. So there are other reasons why you might feel something is familiar. There could be chance, for example, or you may be making a mistake. In other words, let's say you have a vague dream of something happening, and in the future something kind of looks like it, but it's not exactly the same. But you ascribe the match to precognition. For example, humans want to connect things. We're always looking for connections. I have a section in my book called Jesus Toast, right? Jesus Toast is when you make toast and then the burnt parts look like Jesus.
Right.
But that is chance, but you might ascribe it to a real effect that Jesus is trying to communicate with you through toast. So we have to be wary about natural processes in how we, in our cognition and interpretation of the world, where we may make mistaken links. We may link two things that have actually nothing to do with each other.
Okay, well, this is fascinating. This is Paul Callis, and we're talking about precognition and dreaming. And Paul's webpage is called Oneironauts.org, Oneironauts, and which is also the name of his book, The Oneironauts. And this is the Dream Journal. We are broadcast live from the KSQD studios in Santa Cruz and co-broadcast live in San Jose by KCXU. And we are podcast everywhere. And for the last 5 or 6 episodes, I have started releasing full-length videos of the conversations. In fact, if you watch this video, which will be coming out on Monday, you'll be able to see the action at the studio. So you can find all those videos on my YouTube page at Experiential Dreamwork. So after this short break, we're going to have more conversation with Paul Callis. We'll be right back. You are listening to the Dream Journal. I am Catherine Bell of Experiential Dreamwork, and we're here live in the studio with Paul Callis. I'd like to send out a welcome to our far-flung listeners. We have quite a few listeners today, and just to say we have a lot of California folks, Morgan Hill, Salinas, Pleasanton, San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento, Fresno, La Habra, Corona, California. Hi, Kathy. And then we also have Boardman, Oregon, and Toronto, Ontario. We have a couple of Canadians, British Columbia and Surrey, and Quebec, also Ashburn, Virginia, and Moscow, Russia. A truly international show today. Thanks so much for tuning in. And it's true that people all over the world are interested in dreaming. Everybody dreams, after all. Let's nudge the algorithm to help spread interest in dreaming. And you can subscribe to the Dream Journal on your favorite podcast app. Thank you for your generous ratings and reviews. And thanks so much for sharing episodes on your social media. It helps more than you know. Follow the Dream Journal on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and now on YouTube by looking for @Experiential Dreamwork. But most importantly, consider telling your friends about the show. You might just find your next dream sharing buddy, and it is all about sharing dreams. Next week, tune in for a conversation with 2 guests, psychiatrist Gregory Marr and psychologist Heather Taylor Zimmerman. They have developed a dream oracle deck, which can be used to harness your dreams for personal growth and healing, as well as to understand the language of the soul as it appears in your dreams. All right, well, we're here with Paul Callas, and I know that we have an in-studio question here from Max. So why don't we go to Max here? Here you go.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Max.
Okay, so my question is about the nature of this multiverse theory that we have. It seems like it always centers on human experiences, not on random events happening physically in the universe. Does this, and this has something to do with that analogy you have with the Jesus toast? That Jesus' face might appear in the toast to resemble Jesus, or it might just be toast. But that depends on a human observer. So, like, what do we have, like, for, multiverses that are generated not by human thought?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting concept. I haven't even thought about that. That's an interesting idea. In general, though, I should preface everything by saying this isn't really, I don't know what causes precognition. I call it the Oneironaut phenomena. It's something that I can observe as happening, but I don't know what causes it. I do talk about the many worlds ideas and quantum physics as well, that often resembles the experiences I have with precognition. But I don't know if actual quantum mechanical effects are happening in our mind. It's not known. It's not a scientific fact that quantum mechanics happens in our mind. But a lot of the language is very similar. For example, if you're having a precognitive dream, where are you? Are you in bed or are you in the future? And in fact, I think you're in both. You're in a superposition of two places and two times at once. Superposition is a word that you talk about in quantum mechanics when you talk about the wave nature of light, and the famous double slit experiment that if you take a physics class you would learn about, that light seems to have a dual nature of a particle, where you're at a distinct place in the universe, and it also has the property of a wave, which is spread out over space and time. So I don't know if those types of effects are responsible for precognition, but when I ask questions like, where am I when I'm having a precognitive dream, I'm in two places at once, it does remind you of certain aspects of physics.
Well, there's like really all the more than two places, because you're in bed, you're having the dream about the future, but you also have the experience of changing the future. So you're actually tapping into different times and different places, even all at the same time. But I'm not. Is this helping your question, Max? Is this?
You're sort of skirting on it, but yeah. Just a second, I meant to take these off. You're sort of skirting on it, but I really have some more questions to follow up with on this one.
Please.
That would be like, okay, so it's basically what you're telling me is it's a linguistic thing that I'm following here with the term with.
Yeah, in terms of, I'm just saying plainly that I can't explain. I don't know why it happens. That I think it's interesting to think about the many worlds interpretation. There are other interpretations. For example, you could say that this is all explainable if we all live in a simulation.
Yeah.
For example. To me, the best ideas are the ones that are testable. I don't know how you could test the simulation idea. I haven't read much on the literature. But I think in terms of understanding the universe in terms of quantum mechanics and how it applies to the macroscopic world, we're gaining new knowledge about that all the time, and new ideas are presented all the time.
Okay, so we're calling out to somebody with a creative mind to come up with some way to test this.
Absolutely. I think it's testable.
Okay.
For example, it's testable in, I talk about how, if you want to talk about these alternate universes, let's say all you have to really depend on at the moment is my experiences. But let's say you have a group of people. You have 20 people who are part of an experiment where they're recording their dreams, and in the future an event will happen that they are all part of. They will go as a group to a unique place. And some fraction of those people have a precognitive dream of the same thing. That would build up better evidence for precognition than what I can currently present, because you have a group of people that are having, you're essentially getting more data, and you're making the result more statistically convincing.
That's what science is all about.
That's right. It's all about testing, being skeptical, but trying to come up with experiments that will test the hypothesis. So let's say this group of people in the future have the event, but they change it slightly because they had the precognitive dream. That means this group of people did see a different version of events in the future, but they all have an autobiographical timeline that does not include that future event that they changed. So now you have more people involved in the same precognitive experiment, which is more convincing than just having one person like me.
Right. Well, I mean, the whole multiverse thing is really mind-blowing for me, and it's like hard for me to understand even why matter exists. And then we're going to like replicate the universe every fraction of a second, like multiple times.
Sure, but in science, infinity is a concept. It's feasible.
Infinities is no more than infinity.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
So it's not crazy. And in the bigger picture, note that I'm not considering this Oneironaut phenomena as something spiritual or something supernatural. I'm just saying that we can perceive something in nature that we quite haven't tested with our experiments. And I don't find that unusual at all. Quantum mechanics emerged about 100 years ago, and even the most famous scientists like Einstein were skeptical about it. And even Einstein, when he proposed relativity, he had to go out and convince people that this, and actually gather support from other scientists,
Right.
because those ideas were completely unexpected and completely non-intuitive. So, and quantum mechanics, of all things, is extremely non-intuitive, and yet experiments show that it is part of our natural world.
Right. So there is a way that that we are going toward the future. Maybe you could talk a little bit about how this is helping human evolution.
Well, it's quite possible that that many of the things that inspire us and move us forward are a result of precognition, of our dreams. Of course, dreams also have other non-precognitive functions, as far as like problem solving in our dreams. So a lot of scientists, there are cases where scientists have found solutions to certain problems in their dreams. But this is just a natural extension of our waking problem solving ability. But one day it could be that we are actually trying to accelerate the pace of science and understanding by using this phenomena, the Oneironaut phenomena.
And so how would you suggest that we do that? How do we enhance that phenomenon? How do we have more precognition?
Yeah. Well, I think it's promising. I talk about the DreamNet in my book, that you could have dreams recorded, and I think it's promising because obviously AI now has made it possible to distill a lot of information and quickly answer questions about that information. So if you have, thousands of people recording their dreams, maybe millions of people.
You're talking about like they're recording while we sleep, not writing down in the morning, but actually like taking a recording from our brains while we're sleeping.
Oh, well, initially by just transcribe, like talking about your dreams.
Okay.
I had a dinner with some lawyers who said one of the most amazing things about AI is how it can process transcripts of Zoom meetings and Teams meetings.
It's not always right, though.
Yeah. But all this information, their specialty it was in discovery, e-discovery for law cases. So AI now is extremely useful in understanding all these transcripts. Let's say instead of doing e-discovery for law, we have transcripts of people's dreams. That AI will find commonalities among these dreams, predicting that future event is likely to happen because this large group of people have a common experience. AI would be able to separate the dreams we have that an individual has because of their individual cognitive processes, their individual experiences, but certain events might be in common among certain things that people dream about might be common in all of these dream transcripts. And so you produce a prediction. In the future, though, like you were hinting at, you might not need even the transcript. You could have a brain recording, and this is something neuroscientists are working at, where you essentially are able to pretty accurately guess what a person is thinking. Because every time you think about a certain thing, let's say it's a puppy, your brain has a certain pattern of blood flow or electrical activity, and it's a unique pattern when you're thinking about a puppy. So while the person is sleeping, if you see that pattern and you're recording that same brain activity, you could actually say, oh, that person's dreaming about a puppy. But imagine even more complex thoughts being able, that neuroscientists are able to find the neural correlates to even more complex thoughts. Not just visions of a puppy, but like a sequence of events.
Right.
So you could imagine in the future there are these Oneironauts who are being recorded, and their dreams are being also processed by AI. Everything they see, it's much more accurate than how we transcribe dreams now. Right now, we have to remember our dreams accurately. We have to. It's an incomplete memory. It's flawed. And there's just too much information.
I often feel like the dream is kind of shifting as I'm writing it down. It's like, was that really what happened? I don't know. It's like it kind of shifts in my hand. But if we had a recording of what happened, it would be pretty revealing and maybe kind of alarming. Might be very different than what we think because we put our conscious mind onto it. But also it's very verbal. Like we wake up and we need to put words. Like I'm often conscious of trying to stuff the dream image into words. And so it would be interesting if this was recorded in images or what it would be. It might be way more chaotic than we think.
And, well, you know what the mind-blowing thing is? Let's say you're in real time recording the person's dreams. They're all about the person's memories and concerns and how to drive from here to there. But all of a sudden, they have a dream of somebody saying, I was jumping from a hay cart, 16-wheeler to a hay cart to a 16-wheeler. The person looking at the dream log, the scientist, for example, is actually having a real-time window into the future. Think about that. We're just saying that there is a technology that can translate our brain patterns into things like an image of a puppy. Imagine, though, that this what's happening to that puppy is something from the future. When the neuroscientist is looking at your brain pattern and the software is translating that to an image, you're seeing a vision of a puppy that person, for example, has never had a puppy but will have in the future. The neuroscientist is actually looking at a video of the future.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The neuroscientist is looking at the future through that person's dream.
Okay, that's kind of mind-blowing.
Exactly. And I think that's possible. That is testable.
Okay.
That is, as a scientist and in writing this book, I try to focus on aspects of the experience that can be tested.
Right.
Which is important in science.
That is important. That's so important. So this is Paul Callis. His book is called The Oneironauts. And I wonder if you can find him at the Oneironauts.org is the webpage. And I wonder if you have any final thoughts or encouragements for our listeners.
Oh, wow. Well, if people are very curious about developing this skill, keeping a dream journal is paramount. The reason I cataloged many of my déjà vu experiences is to understand which dreams I should write down. And because I have too many to write down. And you have to understand that many of your dreams are about your past and resolving conflict or imagining what something would be like if you did a certain action, or if they could be about feelings. You can write those down too. Which one of those dreams should you write down, because it might be precognitive? So I recommend writing down the dreams that seem to be puzzling or learning experiences. Something that you are puzzled about in the dream.
In the dream.
In the dream.
Okay, because when I wake up, all my dreams are puzzling.
Yeah.
But in the dream, you're okay. That's
Or I talked about space, geometric spaces, the environments you're in. If you have a dream where you feel like you're in a room that is new or puzzling or grabs your attention, write that dream down. Write that dream down and the things you see in that room, for example.
Okay.
But if if it's a dream about you're driving a car and your family is in the car, that's a classic dream about the psychology of a family, for example.
Right. Okay.
So you can write that down, and actually it's another thing that I find very useful is to put some of your dreams in ChatGPT. It comes out with very interesting interpretations that are not just interesting, have personal value, I think. Those are normal dreams where you're trying to understand yourself. For precognitive dreams, think about the dreams that were novel, new experiences, things that puzzled you, or you were trying to figure something out.
Okay. Well, sometimes that leads to a lucid dream for me when I'm trying to figure something out. It's like, wait a minute, doesn't make sense. And then, oh my God, I'm dreaming. But maybe there's some precognitive aspect there. Let me think about that. So Paul Callis, thank you. This has been a fabulous conversation. And I will let listeners know that we're actually we're going to lunch, and it's too late to join this time, but we're going to be doing future lunches here in Santa Cruz. So if you want to be part of a local dream community, send me an email and get on my list to talk in person about dreams. And we will set up some future meetings. So thank you all for listening. The Dream Journal is produced at the studios of KSQD in Santa Cruz, and we are live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific at ksqd.org. The podcast is released on the Monday after the show. It spreads interest in dreaming when you subscribe, rate, and review. I am Catherine Bell. You can find out about my dream coaching practice at experientialdreamwork.com. Email me at catherine@ksqd.org, KATHERINE. Follow Experiential Dreamwork and hashtag The Dream Journal on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube to keep up with the shows. I'd like to thank Rick Cluffel, engineer and music creator, audio editing by Suki Wessling, phones by Eric Nelson, and intro and outro pieces are both by Mood Science. And tomorrow morning when you wake up, take a minute to write down your dream and bring it to the next Dream Journal.